Avoid dangers. Avoid conceivable dangers. It's only a stupid person sees danger and walk into it. Only stupid people do.
So, guys, today I have with me here Mr. Alex. So, it's an honor to have Mr. Alex here in this show today. I stumbled amongst one of his video that he made, and I was so interested, and I invited him over, and today he is here. So, guys, I'll have him introduce himself. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for such intro. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alex, and I'm known as Alex Mason, and I'm a podcaster. I have a basic idea that life is not just a game, but it's a series of games, and you have to keep playing the games of life to just so you can be invited again. Other than that, I'm a businessman, and I'm really big on YouTube. I have a social media handle. I'm on Twitter, almost every platform you can about find on the internet. That's me.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that introduction. So, actually, I have a couple of questions that I'm going to be asking Mr. Alex. So, in regards to one of his video that I watched, so the topic was on learn from your mistakes.
There are two ways you can learn in life: your experience or someone else's experience.
Mr. Alex, on your video, you on learning from your mistakes. So I have this question for you. You said we should learn from our mistakes. Do you believe that there are some people who have refused to learn from their mistakes or their errors?
Learning from your mistakes. What I can say is, I asked someone some time ago on my podcast, is there really failure? And he said, no, life is really learning from your mistakes.
Okay.
And where the failure really comes is when you don't learn. And that makes someone stupid. A stupid person is someone who doesn't learn from mistake. And these are the people who suffer the deadliest of all plagues and chaos. So, as human beings, we have this cognitive proclivity to just keep evolving. And there's something that happens to a child when a child try to put his fingers in the fire. The child tends to learn something about that.
That's right.
Firstly, that fire is not that bad. But if you dare to put your hands in the fire, that is when it goes bad.
That's right.
So I think that life is, like I started with, life is it's not just a game. It's a series of games. You learn, you fail. Sometimes you have to intentionally fail.
Exactly.
So that you can be invited to the game again.
Yes.
See, when you play with someone who's an amateur on a game and you always beat this person in this game, there is this tendency that the person will no longer invite you to play with you.
That's right.
And there's a study that has shown that rats, tend they are playful animals, and they play, and the bigger rats give chance to the smaller rat sometimes to win. Because here's what happens: when the smaller rat wins, there is a high chance the smaller rat is going to come back to play. But if the bigger rat is always winning, then there is no chance. The chance is very slim for the smaller rat to try to play with the bigger rat again. So it's all across human beings and lobsters and apes, chimps. If you are the more powerful one, or if you are getting it right, at some point in life you have to give life a chance to play games on you, so that you can be invited to play a game.
Wow. Thank you so much for that response. And the next question that I have here goes, how have you so far learned from your own mistake in life?
Okay, good question. I've learned from my mistakes that there's so many things. To start with, there was a time I had a floor installation restoration business, and and I learned two things from that. Firstly, I wasn't registered. I didn't have my business registered, installing floors for people, and I made some money from that, but there was this client I ran into, and that was the the cookie that broke the jar. Firstly, the client at some point when I started the job, the client was at first happy. At some point, he got dissatisfied, which till today is unknown why the reason
Why?
why. But what he did was terminated the project.
Oh.
And it was difficult for me to make the right decision because I spent money on materials. And since I spent money on materials, the request for refund was somewhat absurd to me. Was I couldn't contend with it, couldn't comprehend what it was trying to say, and because of that, I went to my brother-in-law at that time and asked him what I should do. And since he was in business longer than I was, he said, ignore them. And at some point, they'll let you go, which I did. And unfortunately, they didn't let me go.
Oh.
And there is a law that states that if there is a chance of something bad happening, if you don't take care of it, it's going to happen.
That's true.
And because I refused to listen to that law, I just put it on fate that nothing was going to happen and something bad happened. They sued me to court and I paid 3 times the price that I should have refunded them.
Wow.
Including the attorney, including restitution, and also face the government for operating without a license. 2 things I learned from there. 2 things. Firstly, no one is above the law.
Yes.
The law is a social construct that is created to govern the people. And if you go against it, you should be ready to face the consequence of what will come with it. Be ready. I'm not saying don't go against it, but be ready to face the consequence.
Wow.
And secondly, be careful of the advice you take.
Be careful of the advice you take.
The people who are giving you advice, look into their life. Are they living the kind of life you want? And if no is the case, then why take the advice? That's what I learned.
Wow.
There are different things I've learned in my life, but those are one of the 2 hardest lessons I've learned. Most difficult ones that it gave me a knock, a hickey on the head. And, till today, I think it's still a guiding light for me. When making decisions or when young people going into business ask me questions, I can fetch from the data that I have why. I can be very sure about what I'm telling them. So I don't see what I went through as a curse or some sort of disappointment. No, I see it as one experience that a 3-year-old boy I've never seen or a 5-year-old boy I've never seen. That makes me step ahead in my cognitive process in understanding life. I think that is it.
Wow, sometimes we learn the hard way. So I'm just kind of curious. I don't know, with this client, you guys, was there anything like a contract? Like, I know a lot of times people have like a contract, right, with your clients, and before you begin a work or before you begin to offer a service, kind of like to be on a safe side. So once you sign it, you can back out. Because I remember like...
Well, it depends on what your contract says. If your contract, and that is one thing I learned, don't let someone else construct your contract. Now, I had someone construct my contract and I was so stupid that I never reviewed the terms, and the terms was directly against me. So it kind of looked like the person downloaded this contract online and just pasted it on my papers and sent it to me, and the stupid me didn't look at it carefully,
just signed blindly
to make sure that I have a contract that is, predicated on favoring me. No. The contract was totally predicated on favoring the client. And, on that basis, there was nothing I could say about it. It was hands down for me.
Wow. Wow. What a lesson. Wow. Okay. Now the next question that I have says, do you learn them? Do you learn the lessons that you have learned so far? Do you learn and share the lessons with others, or you just keep them to yourself?
I share lessons with people that need it.
Oh.
Someone said that if you're talking and people are not listening, stop talking.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes
sense to me.
I paid a I paid a huge price for my mistakes. I paid a huge price for my mistakes. And if I share it with someone, then the person has to be ready to learn. If you're not ready to learn, then to hell. Why should I share with you? You have to be worthy. That means you have to be in the cognitive process of trying to evolve. You have to be open-minded already for me to say, okay, I think I can tell this person something. But if you are still stuck with I don't want to use a derogatory word, but if you are still stuck with the mentality or ideas that have put you in the problem you are right now,
Okay.
and you don't even see a problem with you, then there's nothing I can do about it. Whatever I tell you is just a funnel. It's gonna go down the drain. So then I'll stop talking. I don't need to tell you. But if you want the answers, then come on, I'll give it to you.
That's right. That's right. I have the next question here. It might sound funny, but okay. It says, female and male who learn easily from their mistakes.
Okay, I think female learn better than male from their mistake because by nature, female are agreeable. They are agreeable creatures, and that is why they can easily go to school, get a degree, get a job. They work with the social construct because they have this tendency to be agreeable.
Okay.
But male, on the other hand, male are stubborn, obstinate. I'll use that word, and this is why you have more males inventing things. You have there's no wonder why Elon Musk is a man. Jeff Bezos is a man.
Mm-hmm.
These are people who they hit rock bottom so many times, and families told them, why not just get a job and live the normal life? But they said, no, there's something in this. I would die trying. So men by nature tend to be obstinate, and this is why they hardly learn from their lessons. Why? They see their mistakes as a failed attempt.
Wow.
So since they see their mistakes as failed attempt, they hardly give up. And sometimes it's so difficult to differentiate the discrepancy between errors and trials. Like, you can be doing something. Okay, let me put it this way. Adolf Hitler, we all think that Adolf Hitler is a Satan himself. But if you were in Germany, you might not think the same.
That's right.
Because everyone can only see the world in the lens in which they were traveling towards.
Yes.
And until you hit the bottom that there is no way, that is the only time the cognitive part of you starts searching for some other route. And within that, it's more like a quantum. It's a very short space that if you hit that point, that is probably the only started chance you have to listen to someone else. Probably the serpent in you that says, maybe you're doing this wrong. But the thing about it is, it's hard for men to get to that point where they ask themselves the real question, am I doing it right?
Right.
But women, they're always asking themselves the question. And let's put it this way. One of the reasons why it is that is because women have a lot to lose when they make the wrong decisions. You see, the act of sex is more risky for women than men. So before a woman chooses a mate, she is asking herself series of questions about this man.
Yeah, going through your mind. Yeah.
The same thing she does with every other thing in her life. She is asking herself multiple questions. But it's different for men. Men are ready to risk it all. More part of it is because the only way they can really get what they want in life is to risk it all. That gives them the sense of purpose when they risk it all and they get it and they say, yes, I did it. So it's two different things. There are different reasons why men and women are different in nature when it comes to agreeableness or not. But that is one big reason why men don't hardly learn from their mistakes and women easily learn from their mistakes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I would like to know some of the things you learned from opening a cleaning company and any other business aside from your or cleaning or
It's
business?
hard. I mean, if I have a daughter, I would not really suggest to my daughter to start a business if
Oh,
she
really?
if she doesn't have if she's not like me.
That's right. Not everybody is business inclined.
It's hard. It's brutal. Look, it's brutal to start a business. I've seen a friend started a business with all she had, and just one illness wiped out everything. And I've seen someone own a business, a store, and someone fell in the store, and it just happened at that point that there was no caution, wet sign on the floor, and someone fell. No one knows if the person had all these problems, but the person fell, and now all the problems of this person was now on the owner of the store, and the person had to pay. Because of that, the business was down.
Yes.
So it's a very brutal game. And I've seen someone own a cleaning business and no one wants to take the job, and she has to do it herself.
Oh, wow.
Multiple locations, she has to go from
Wow.
here to here, keep doing the job herself while she's trying to hire someone. So it's a brutal game versus just have a job, wake up in the morning, dress up, go work, come back, and on and on, you know. So I think it's a brutal game, and it's for people who are just, you know, I think owning a business is for people who can stand the pressure. The pressure is much. You might stand outside and see them, they
Look
have
at it from distance and
yeah,
think
and
that
think
all
they
is
have the
well,
leisure
everything
with
is
time. But the thing about it is, those who have business are the people who work more than 80 hours a week. They work in the middle of the night, they work in the morning, they get calls when on the bed. So it's a whole uh, series of episodes, you know, when owning a business. However, it comes with its benefit, which I'm not going to mention here. But you know, you just need to have the capacity to handle pressure. You know, because it's going to wipe out anything you think you have that is called energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to wipe it out.
Wow.
You know, it's going to use it all. You know, until when you get there, you say, "Man, I did a lot to be here." Like
Wow.
my podcast alone, I go out to malls, give out cards, and I get sometimes rejection from people. It is part of it.
That's right. It's part of it.
Mhm.
Wow. Can we own our mistakes? Because I want to believe that at a certain point in life, each and every one of us will have, made one error or one mistake. So,
Mhm. There's a part in the Bible in the scripture that talked about the Israelites rebelling against God, and He sent snakes to bite them, and they were dying, and they went to Moses and said, "Please tell God to take away this
the
suffering from us."
suffering.
And then God didn't just take it all away. No, He told Moses, "Put a snake on your staff and put it in the middle of the people, and whoever can look up to this snake will have their problems taken away." You say it's absolute idiocracy. I don't know if that word exists, for you to think that because you repent,
Mm-hmm.
your problems can be taken away. No. So I really think that responsibility is the highest form of maturity.
Okay.
You have to be responsible for whatever you have created. And the answer is yes, everyone must, it's not will, should. Everyone must be responsible for their, I don't want to use vulgar, for whatever they are assigned. I'll put it that way. Sometimes assignment is involuntary. Sometimes things happen to you in life you don't plan. I've seen people impregnating ladies they never imagined to deal with, but they don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a child, you have to deal with it.
Yes. You have to do it.
And if you go do some funny stuff outside, you get some STI, you have to deal with it.
Sure, definitely.
You have, and that is why I keep telling young people, look, I can't tell young people now don't have sex. It's almost impossible. What I tell them is make it a conversation before you do it. Talk it out before you do it. Because if you talk it out, you probably, even before you finish the conversation, you will decide if this is the right person you want to do it with. Because there's a lot of price to pay if things go wrong. And you must be responsible for it. So I think responsibility is inevitable. You might avoid it, but it's gonna, in the long run, get it more. I haven't seen anyone who has gotten away with the lie. Somehow the truth is always finding a way to get you, and it's gonna get you right, if not now, down the line. That is it.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. How frustrating is it to be an entrepreneur?
Come again with the question.
Okay, it's like being an entrepreneur, when you make mistakes, how is it? Is it like frustrating? How, you know,
Well, depending on what kind of entrepreneur you are, there are those who are serious with the business, and there's those who are just experimenting. So if you're experimenting and it dies, well, it's not going to frustrate you. But tell
anyway,
me,
yeah.
if you
Yeah.
give it your all and it fails, it means you go into bankruptcy. And now you know what that means, right? It's definitely difficult for you to take another loan for business.
Yes.
It's going to affect you a lot. So I guess that question answers for itself. You know, being an entrepreneur is really a survivor for the fittest. I would really suggest to anyone who's never been, I don't know, like, we all needn't be entrepreneurs. That's the first thing I'd say. And the second thing is, if you must be one, be ready for the game.
Okay.
It's harsh. It's brutal. Everyone is trying to get you.
Challenging.
Your employees are trying to get you. The insurance are trying to get you. Your clients are trying to get you. Everyone
That's
is
right.
trying to get a handout.
Right.
So you have to be careful, because staying in business is a whole lot than starting a business. Starting a business is easy, but staying in business, Jesus, I was with a potential partner. We were having a conversation about working together, and the partner is into medical, stuff, therapy, and she told me how how the issue, how the clients were trying not to pay after
Wow.
getting the service.
Wow.
They were trying not to pay. They would leave and they would try not to pay constantly, and then insurance are not trying to insure. And I had a friend who engaged in a car accident, and then the insurance were trying to cash in on any slight mistake he had made, so they won't cover that vehicle. So it's a constant process. So that is why anyone go into business, you have to be ready to go through the pressure, go through the you first thing, you have to be responsible. You cannot shy away from your responsibility as a business person. It is better to attend to the dragon while it's a baby in the cage, because if you let it grow, it's going to take you out. You have to attend to the dragon, most especially the ones in your heart. But yeah, when it comes to owning a business, little bills, taxes to pay, and things like that, when you ignore those things, they pile up. And then when they pile up to a point where even your business cannot stand for it, your business goes down.
Wow.
And I'm really glad that we have LLC today that makes your business so separate from you,
Yes.
so that means your business goes down, you don't go down. But
Yes.
in the same token, it's still in your record. So you want to be careful about that. You have to be prudent. You have to be smart. It's imperative that you have to think thoroughly before going into a business of any sort. Make sure that you know all that you should know about it. That is it.
Thank you so much for that response. And I want to seize this opportunity to thank you for honoring my invitation. Thank you for coming. And you can check out Alex Mezin's podcast and see what he does. Thank you, guys.